Good morning, students. How are you? You are off these days and you have ample time at home to read. So we're going to be talking about creative writing, but what I want to emphasize on is that you read at home as much as you can. You can read papers, you can read storybooks, you can read journals. You just should read anything and everything that you get your hands on. It's an excellent time for you to develop a habit of reading, because for creative writing, for creating stories, it is very important that you should be well read. That gives you a lot of ideas. You get a better hang of language structures when you have read a lot. We'll now move to how to improve your creative writing step by step. I'm sure you have done this in your class as well. What your teacher starts by doing is that you have an organizer in the class. Each one of you are given an organizer, and you organize your story into characters, into settings, into plot, beginning, middle, and end of the story onto that organizer. So here we have an organizer that I've just picked up for you. It could be anyone. You could take it from the internet or the one that you use in the class. There is a title and the author that is given. The title of the story will be whatever that you choose it to be, and the author is you. Setting of the story is where do you want your story to be? Is your story based in your school, at your home, at your friend's place, in your neighborhood, in the park, in a wonderland? Is it a fiction story? Is it a non-fiction story? Then comes the characters. Now, who are the characters of your story? Are there two? Are there just one? Is your entire class involved? Are there main characters? Are there side characters? Are there heroes in your stories? This is where you decide who is going to take part in your story. Now in this organizer, whatever you write is basically what you are thinking about your story from the top of your head. If there's anything that you want to remove later, anything that you want to change later, you may. Nobody is binding you to use this as it is. However, when you don't organize your story in this manner, and you start writing your story right away, what starts to happen is that you start to lose the trail of thought. So it's very important. Like if you think that you have good hang of writing stories and you've done it many times, I would still suggest that to improve your creative writing, you use organizers. The beginning, middle, and end of the story is also something that you are all aware of. Beginning is how do you want to start your story. Now it's very important to write a very impactful start of the story. How do you want your beginner how do you want to capture the interest of the reader of the story? Do you want to start your story with a flashback? Do you want to start your story with describing how the day feels? So this is how the story will begin. You'll introduce the characters and you'll introduce the plot and the setting of the story. The middle is basically mostly when there is a problem in the story that has arisen, or there is the story has moved towards the part where the characters now are established, and then comes the end. In the end, what you do is your problem of the story is resolved, and everything is now culminated. So there are different types of genres that you write in. Your teachers sometimes ask you to write a narrative. There's descriptive writing, there is letter writing, and then there is report writing. All these different genres of writing fall under the category of either creative writing or directed writing. Creative writing and directed writing are two broad categories of writing. So you don't need to get confused in that, because we are talking about how to structure your thoughts for writing better. So that is given in the question, and that you can do very well. You just need to realize what sort of the purpose of your writing. Only then you'll be able to write very well. So in a descriptive writing, in this genre of writing, you might take notes of things like metaphors and similes and use these sensory details to make your writing more objective. The activities that you do in this type of writing is comparison, descriptive sentences. Then there's the expository writing, where you're mostly writing directions or essays and reports and summaries. In this genre, it is common to collect and synthesize information. This type of writing is often objective reports and are mostly frequently seen medium. Journals and letters are emails and blogs, very relevant to you these days, letters and personal journals. Here you might either write to yourself or someone else. This type of writing is personal and less formal than any of the other genres. You may share new ideas and take notes. And the most commonly written genre in school I know is narrative writing. Narrative is personal narrative. It's written in first person. It's about story sharing. It's about writing story scripts. This genre may involve sharing of stories, writing stories about personal events, and creating new stories. This will include a beginning, a middle, like we discussed, and an end. Then is persuasive writing. Persuasive writing is a little bit tricky because your argumentative writing and persuasive writing go hand in hand. Persuasion refers to the ability to convince someone to see things from a selective point of view, your point of view. You want to come across to the reader as somebody who's convinced for or against a certain topic. It could be in form of a letter to the editor. It could be an essay. It could be an advertisement, or it could be a review, a book review maybe. Then there's poetry writing, where you write poetry. It could be limerick, it could be a haiku. It focuses on imagery, use of rhymes, and different poetic devices. So hope you get to practice some of this, and we'll get to see you soon. Thank you.